You cannot learn Stoicism by reading alone. You just can't. Because reading is useful, sure, but it's theory. But theory without practice is entertainment. It's just like you can't learn to swim by reading about swimming. You have to get in the water, you have to get in the pool, and you have to practice. And you have to practice under supervision so that you will not drown. And also, if you want to learn to ride a bike, you have to get on the bike. You can't just learn it by reading about how to ride a bike. You have to start practicing, and again, under supervision of someone who is there protecting you when you fall. And also is guarding you from your blind spots that by definition you cannot see because they are your blind spots. And that's why I believe in the coaching, and that's why I have this mission at the Stoic Coach. So this is very practical, and Stoicism is practical. And so it's also like, think about when you learn to lift weights at the gym. You don't do that by studying bodybuilding textbooks. You don't study a bodybuilding textbook and you grow your muscles. You have to go to the gym and do the reps. And it's not difficult, it's simple. It's simple what you have to do, but it's hard to do. That's why it's so hard for many people, because it requires commitment, it requires intention, and it requires also someone who is there to show you the right way to do the exercises and to make you execute when you don't feel like it. And that is again your coach, your personal trainer at the gym. And so this is for everything in life where you have to apply your knowledge to do something practical. Also when you have to learn to drive a car. You can't learn to drive without an instructor. Or if you want to fly an airplane, you can't fly an airplane just by reading a book. You have to get in the cockpit with a flight instructor and real hours in the cockpit. So that you practice, and you practice with someone who is there protecting you from your mistakes, because there can be deadly mistakes if you try to fly an airplane solo without first having practiced with an instructor close to you. And so, you see, you cannot learn Stoicism without practice, without feedback, and without guidance. And also without all the experiences, the adversities that life will offer you. Like said Seneca, the gods treat good men well by giving them the opportunities to practice their wisdom and their strength. Because those opportunities are the adversities. And you welcome those adversities because those are the feedback that life offers you in order to refine your judgment and to grow your character through them. And so no man is more unhappy than he who never faced adversities, because he's been denied the privilege of proving himself. And also Seneca said that a gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials. And again Seneca said that ignis aurum probat, the gold is tested in the fire. There's not a way for you to know if the gold is gold. You have to test it, and you test it in the fire. And so Seneca said that exactly like the gold is tested in the fire, good men are tested by adversities. What a miserable life would you have without adversities? Think about it. Those are what makes you refine yourself, polish yourself like a gem through the friction that life offers you. And so you have to go through your life with intention, because also Marcus Aurelius said that your actions may be impeded, and your actions will be impeded. But there can be no impediment to our intentions and dispositions. That is what wrote Marcus Aurelius. Because your mind adapts and converts to its own purposes the obstacles to our acting. And so the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Because what stands in the way is your way. You have to go through that. Like a captain of a ship has to go through the storm to prove that he is a captain. Because another saying is that every man is a sailor when the sea is calm. Think about it. When the sea is calm, everyone could say, I'm a sailor. But the real seamanship is revealed when there is the storm, when the winds are unfavorable. And so that is where the sailor becomes a true sailor, becomes a captain, the captain of your life. And so you cannot prove yourself unless you will face adversities. And be sure life will give you many opportunities to prove yourself, because you will go through adversities. But what you call adversities are the world around you that is giving you back information. Because when you operate in a world that first you don't know, because you came to this existence without any instruction manual. So you test yourself. And imagine the first sailors in ancient, in the Bronze Age. They were going without knowing where they would arrive. They were going across land, across the sea. And so they were discovering something and they were expecting something. But what they met was not what they were expecting. And so it is the same for you. Because when you want to do something in your life, you expect an outcome, a result. And then you don't get the outcome that you were expecting. And so you call it a failure. But actually that's feedback. And then you are confronted with something that forces you to grow your character. And you call it an adversity. Those are something you should be grateful for, because they're giving you feedback. It's like a cybernetic process of, if you know about cybernetics, is about receiving feedback from the environment. And so it's a loop of command and control. So you take action, you see the outcome of that action. If you think about a ballistic missile is ballistic. So it's shot and then it goes where it ends. But a cybernetic missile, it keeps changing its trajectory until it gets the target. And this is the Terminator mindset. Because a cyborg, cybernetics, and this applies to life, it applies to nature. In cybernetics, there is this loop of command and control where you keep changing your trajectory until you achieve your target. And so it's impossible for you not to achieve your target, whatever it is, even if you want to just make money. And so we use that in business and finance, for example. Because if you understand how nature works, because you understand the true Stoicism, then you can correct your trajectory by receiving the feedback through the outcomes that you keep iterating, because it's an iterating process, and through this loop that starts with you planning your next move, then taking action. You have to take action. You only acquire that next step through action. Action comes first. Because if you wait for the perfect moment, it will never arrive. You will never have all the information you need. Because you get the information, you acquire the information through action. So first you plan, and then you take action, and then you monitor the outcomes, and be sure they will not be what you were expecting. So they're not. You don't call it failure. Don't call it adversities. Don't call it for what they are. They are data. They are feedback. You want them in business, in finance. People pay for feedback. If you want to make a marketing campaign, especially online, all those dashboards, when you do a split testing, an A/B testing in marketing campaigns, for example, you already know that most of the outcomes will be not what you would expect. If you are a venture capitalist and you invest in 10 companies, you already know that 9 of those 10 will fail miserably. But one of them, the unicorn, will pay for all the others. So it's part of the business model. So this is the business model of life. So again, you plan, then you do, then you monitor the outcomes, and then you adjust using the information that now you have, that you wouldn't have had if you didn't take action in the first place. So you plan and do, then you monitor, then you adjust, and with those new information, you plan again. And now you take action again. And now again you monitor. And now you adjust again. And you keep refining this model until it is so powerful and so effective that there is nothing that you cannot achieve. And this is embodied philosophy. This is Stoicism as embodied philosophy. Because this is trained into the nervous system. It is trained into decision making, and it is trained into habits, daily habits, into judgments, and into your reflexes. You become an expression of the Logos. This is the idea of Stoicism, because you are an expression of the Logos. And if you learn to live in accordance with it, there's nothing that you cannot achieve in this life. And also, there's this sense of fulfillment, of meaning in what you do, of purpose. And this is this sense of really feeling the eudaimonia, that happiness that comes when you are feeling the flourishing of your soul, the flourishing of your mind through embodying virtue. And so, this is why so many people think that they're being stoic, when in reality, they are just avoiding discomfort. But again, that's not Stoicism, that's avoidance. Stoicism doesn't avoid discomfort. Actually, there is also a practice called you voluntarily put yourself in discomfort. So you practice voluntary discomfort. And so I'm thinking now about Paul, because Paul made a great point in his article. He made a great point about indifference. And so I want to underline this because it's crucial. In classical Stoicism, external things are indifferent, but in terms of moral value, not in terms of practical relevance. So money is indifferent morally, and so is status, and so is health. And so is also the car that you drive. But that doesn't mean that they don't matter. It means that they are tools, and the tools can be used well or badly. So the Stoic question is never what did you choose, but it is why. Why did you choose it? Did reason govern your decision, or impulse, or fear, or ego, or social pressure? That question is everything. It's everything I see that usually in business, for example. But yet, if we look at online Stoicism, then online Stoicism often stops at the first half of the sentence and throws away the second. Because you read and you hear those, those nothing matters, those don't care, those detach. That's not Stoicism. That's also I would say nihilism, but also in that case is a distorted nihilism with a Greek font. And I'm saying this bluntly because entrepreneurs and leaders that I work with cannot afford this confusion. They can't, because you already face decision fatigue, you already carry financial anxiety, and you already deal with team issues, isolation, pressure, and also the fear of being outpaced by the market. And so, what you need if you are an operator, again, in my case, I see that in leaders in business and finance who has to face this environment. So, what you need in this case is not emotional shutdown. What you need is clarity. What you need is clarity. And Stoicism gives clarity. This is what Stoicism does, but only when it's practiced correctly. So this is why I'm making this video. And this is why I'm responding to Paul's concern. And this is why I want this channel that I've created to become a place where Stoicism is lived, not cosplayed. I want us to embody this philosophy because before we go deeper, and we will go deeper, I will pause here. I will pause here. Because if you're anything like me, I'm sure you've been there. You've been overloaded. You've been pulled in 10 different directions, trying to stay composed while the ground keeps shifting. And so that's why I'm creating these videos, and I created this channel because my goal here is to make it easier on you who is watching this video. Because society has already made it hard enough on us. And so I believe that Stoicism, only Stoicism, can offer us a philosophy to be lived, to be embodied, and to feel again that sense of meaning in life. And so I created this video based on Paul's article, but if you're still here and you're still watching, let me know if this resonated with you. If you felt that something about online Stoicism felt off, but perhaps you couldn't articulate it, then stay with me, because I'm creating more videos, and in the next video we are going to dismantle exactly how this distortion happened and why it spreads so well online, and most importantly, why intelligent, driven people keep falling for it, even when it doesn't actually work. And so, if you want to stay with me also in the next videos, be sure that you are subscribed to this channel. Let me know if you resonated with what I exposed here about that distorted version of Stoicism. So you can hit the like button, and you can write a comment for me, so that I also know what is your opinion and your personal experience. So for now, I'll close this video, but as I'm saying, I'll continue in the next one, and so I invite you to keep working with me, because this was just the beginning. So you will find here the next video. You can click on it now so that we can keep working this path together, and I will meet you there. Live long and prosper. Marcus, vieni qui! Bravo! Bravo, Marcus! Dai, 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 dai!
Business and finance stoicism, with purpose, strength, and clear perspective.